Today's faction focus is on the Eldari, Eldar. Let's take a look. The army rule for the Eldar is Strands of Fate. Like many other factions which had interesting mechanics in 9th edition, Strands of Fate has been slightly altered for 10th. I'd say for the better. You now roll all your fate dice at the start of the battle, which serves to further differentiate it from the Sisters Miracle dice system, and it's more thematic, now representing the Craftworld's Farseers divining the right courses of action to take in the coming battle. Plus, you can mulligan the pool if you're really dissatisfied with the results. As for how they function, it mostly falls in line with the Sisters of Battle's Miracle dice. Before making a roll, you can substitute dice from that roll with dice from your fate dice pool. Though unlike the Sisters' Miracle dice, there is no restriction spotted here for keeping substitutions limited to 1 per roll. So in effect, if an Eldar player has 2 6s in their fate dice pool, a 12-inch guaranteed charge is on the table. And I think it's pretty tasteful. Fate dice don't seem to be as plentiful as Miracle dice. And if any faction is going to have such reliable speed, it ought to be the Eldar. Their detachment rule was also previewed. Their detachment for the index period is Battle Host, providing the rule Unparalleled Foresight, granting further reliability, as each time a unit shoots or fights, you can reroll 1 hit roll and 1 wound roll. Altogether, it provides the Eldar extreme efficiency and reliability to get the dice to do what they want. Certainly more than any other preview we have seen, and it's sure to go a long way with their deadly arsenal. The first datasheet preview we got is a Farseer. He has the stat line we would all expect of the glass cannon psyker boss of the Eldar. Weapons are pretty much where we would expect them to be, though we can see that he has a psychic ranged attack. Eldritch Storm, a d6 blast attack hitting on 3s at strength 6 AP2 dealing d3 damage. And after examining this datasheet, it occurs to me, now that Witchfire type powers are effectively ranged attacks, the damage dealt is sure to be a standard damage roll, meaning even fate dice rolls of 3s retain great value with d3 damage weapons. Ability-wise, he has Branching Fate, which once per turn allows you to count a fate dice used on a unit within 12 inches of a Farseer as a 6. What? Yeah, an extremely valuable ability. Suitable for an extremely valuable unit. It's quite fitting, really. And the Farseer's second ability is Fortune, providing a unit within 12 inches -1 to wound against enemy attacks. Overall, I'd say the Farseer has some very useful abilities, and I'm hoping that when it comes to the Farseer Sky Runner, we see it keeps the Branching Fates ability, but offers a different power instead of Fortune. As if the mounted variants of buffing characters don't offer different utility, it will certainly be a wasted opportunity to add validity to those non-mounted variants. It's the old Chaplain versus Chaplain on bike issue of mine. But enough of that. Back to the Eldar. The next unit in the spotlight is an emblematic battle line choice, Guardian Defenders. Now I know my Ad Mech homies will be furious the frail Eldari kept their save of 4+ while the bionic humans dropped to 5+. But I suspect this is a game balance concession, as the Eldar retained their 4+ save to better situate their function as an elite army. Looking at their Wargear, the most interesting thing to me is the Bright Lance. Here we can see the lethality of advanced alien weaponry. Compared to the Godhammer Last Cannon, we can see it issues a comparably deadly attack, with a pip better damage and 12 inches less range. I see this as a major win, as I'm not sure we've seen many other battle line units with the capacity to wound toughness 11 tanks on 3s. Votann come to mind, but with the Eldar's unparalleled foresight, I can easily see Guardian squads opting for Bright Lances on heavy weapons platforms, to leverage their unit's 1 hit and wound reroll with fate dice ready to go for the damage. Their unique ability, Defenders of Fate, provides you with a fate dice for each objective controlled by 1 or more Guardian Defenders. It's very similar, even in its name, to the Battle Sister Squad's Defenders of Faith ability, which I can understand begins to take away some of that special sauce of the Sisters, but Battle Sister Squads have their Cherub and Simulacrum Imperialis as further miracle dice generating tools, and I suspect they will also be harder to shift. So even though these guys are stepping on each other's toes a little bit, I believe the Sisters of Battle will still be gaining more miracle dice over a battle than Eldar will be gaining fate dice. In the weapon preview, we have the Fire Prism's Prism Cannon. GW previewed Eldar's big gun. Nice. And while it has had some reductions on its profile relative to how it sits in 9th edition, such as the dispersed profile being far more swingy in terms of number of shots, and both profiles losing AP, the focused profile has upped its strength to 18 and now deals a flat 6 damage instead of 3d3. It also has the linked fire ability built in, allowing fire prisms to measure ranges and visibility from other fire prisms. It situates fire prisms as very reliable, able to get around targeting restrictions while reining in its damage potential a little bit. And in the stratagem spotlight, we got the classic Fire and Fade, which we can see is now a stratagem tied to the Battle Host detachment. 2 command points allows an Eldar unit to make a normal move at the end of their shooting phase, but that unit cannot embark within transports, and that unit cannot charge this turn. The restriction also notes you can't use the stratagem on aircraft units or units in engagement range, which is fair enough. And that's the preview. Honestly, it might be the best one Warhammer Community has put together. Not only did the Eldar come out of it looking solid, but it really felt like a faction focus. We got army and detachment rules, battle line and big cannon previews creating a picture of floors and ceilings, good army rule interplay shown on the Guardian Defenders and the Farseer, plus a classic Eldar stratagem, which all feeds into creating a good picture of how the faction will operate. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. But I want to hear from you. What did you think about this faction focus?